Are they turning Daredevil into a CW show? Is Thunderbolts really a Black Widow sequel? And who's the main villain of Fantastic Four? Let's talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ and welcome back to another news roundup video. It's the end of the week and I'm so glad I waited until Saturday to record this because a couple things came out yesterday, which is when I was gonna record it. So thank God me procrastinating paid off. See kids, it's okay to procrastinate in life. Now before I hop into this relatively quick video, I will tell you just up front here, be sure to like this video and subscribe to get more content. I got some cool videos coming up, one I just recorded on time travel in the MCU. Be sure to do that. Anyway, on to the news. Like I said, this is going to be quick, not too many big things to talk about, just a couple little things about Daredevil, Thunderbolts, and Fantastic Four I want to talk about, and then I'll get out of your hair, and then you can get back to doing whatever you're doing, and I can get back to watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We all have other priorities. I'm glad we recognize that. Okay. Me, like a lot of people, are very much anticipating Daredevil Born Again. It's coming out on Disney Plus next year, 18 episodes, and we're seeing Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio come back. I cannot wait. I'm sure a lot of you can't wait either. But there's a piece of news that came out this week that has people kind of worried and not very excited, and that's that the major trades finally got some info on who some of the other writers of this show are. We know they're filming sometime this year, so they've been writing for a while, but we finally learned who some of these writers are going to be. So first off, they added, I believe it was 3 real lawyers to the writer's room to obviously enhance the lawyer scenes and the courtroom scenes. So hopefully we get some good court scenes. Hopefully we get a much better court scenes than She-Hulk. Those were my biggest disappointment with that show. I think it's really nice that they're adding people with that expertise into their writer's room that may not be well versed in that, so they can make those scenes better, because after all, while it's cool seeing Daredevil kick butt in a suit, a lot of the shining moments of that show are in the courtroom, the Punisher one, for example. But the other one is what alarmed people, and that was I gotta read these, otherwise I'm gonna get both these names wrong. And that is, they added 2 writers, Jill Blankenship, and I'm gonna butcher this, but I think it's Grain Godfrey. But those 2 were added to the show. These 2 people wrote on Arrow, and Jill Blankenship in particular, she wrote on The Last Ship, which I think is a really good show, and she also was the showrunner on Naomi and a consulting producer on Sweet Tooth. Those are her 4 credits thus far, and this really worries people, mainly because there's a clip of Naomi where, I'll just show it. She was the showrunner of that. And it's weird because the score, the IMDb and the Rotten Tomatoes scores for that show are all over the place. On Rotten Tomatoes, audience is really low, but critic is really high, and on IMDb, it's at like a 4.8 or something. So I don't know. I've heard good things about Sweet Tooth. We all know, I have not watched Arrow, but I've heard from everyone early seasons of Arrow were good. And as I've said, I really liked The Last Ship. First 3 seasons were something else. They were cool. People are worried. People are worried that they're going to turn their TVMA, really mature and deep and intricate and complex Daredevil into a CW show. We should not worry about this. I'm going to tell you why. Let me introduce you to my friend, Eric Olson. Olson, however you pronounce it. Eric Olson was the showrunner on Daredevil Season 3. He was the head honcho on that show, and everyone loves Daredevil Season 3. Okay? I mean, it transcends comic book storytelling. It tells a hero and villain conflict that is one for the ages. It has amazing dialogue. Bullseye in that is great. That season never slows down. It never hits a slow point. It's just go, go, go with super intricate and complex storytelling the entire time. And it's a lot of people's favorite season of Marvel anything ever. Showrunner that season was an Arrow writer. He was a producer and a writer of Arrow. He was all over Arrow before coming over to Daredevil, and look what he did for Daredevil. So having writers from Arrow does not automatically mean it's going to be bad. And I would also like to say, they're not the showrunners. The showrunners of the show are someone else, but if they were the showrunners, what does it matter? Maybe they'll craft something really good, but they are just a couple members of a very big writer's room because this is an 18-episode series. They are doing a job that they were tasked to do. Well, I mean, they were brought in creatively, but at the end of the day, the two showrunners, whose names I can't remember, are the head honchos of that. They're the ones making the big boy decisions here. And these are just some of the writers involved. They'll each get a couple episodes that they're going to write of a larger story that's not spearheaded by them. But again, let's say, because for some reason people don't realize how this works, they think that these Arrow writers are, I guess, the head honchos, which is not true at all. They're helping craft the story, but they're not the head honchos. They're just writers on it. But people seem to forget, and it's the ignorance of social media to push a narrative. They seem to forget that Daredevil is a show that has veteran Arrow writers on it. It has CW writers on it. It always has. So if you're going to complain that Born Again has Arrow writers, you better start complaining that Daredevil Season 3 was show ran by an Arrow writer. And if you're not going to complain about that, I don't want to hear your arguments. But that's Daredevil. Let's move on to Thunderbolts. The ending of Phase 5 coming out in, I believe, summer of next year is when Thunderbolts comes out. And this movie is reportedly sort of a sequel or a spiritual successor to the Black Widow movie. Obviously, Yelena, they said, is kind of going to be the main character of the movie. You've got Red Guardian in there. You've got Val in there. You've got Taskmaster in there. You've got several Black Widow movie veterans that are going to be on the Thunderbolts team that Yelena's apparently leading, which is interesting. It has been said that this movie is sort of a sequel to Black Widow, which I can see how that's kind of clever, thinking, well, we killed Natasha, but we can continue Yelena's story and we can pick up the ideas and the storylines from the end, from that movie, and we can continue it in Thunderbolts. So I like the idea. I kind of understand the idea. My one worry about this is that I don't want the Thunderbolts to be a Black Widow movie. I want Thunderbolts to be a Thunderbolts movie. You can have it carry on from established stuff we've seen in the previous movies, and you can have one person as the lead, for example, the Avengers, but that's still very much an ensemble piece. It's not just a straight, it'd be like if Avengers was just Iron Man 3. It's not. It's Avengers, and Iron Man 3 is Iron Man 3. So saying Thunderbolts is a Black Widow sequel, a bit worrisome, but maybe they just meant it in the way of it's picking up some of the stuff we set up and introduced in Black Widow that we're expanding on here. It could just be that. But regardless, I'm excited for Thunderbolts. I think this has the potential to be sort of an underdog project that'll just come in and shine, and I'm really excited for the dynamic between all these characters because I like most of them, at least. I don't like all of them, but I like most of them. So I'm excited to see Thunderbolts. I told you this was going to be a short video. We're almost done. There was not much Marvel news that came out this week. Two things coming out soon that are worth noting is Black Panther Wakanda Forever will be streaming on Disney Plus February 1st if you want to watch it again. And the Blu-ray will be February 7th. I may make a buyer's guide before that, breaking down the different editions of this movie, what I plan on getting, what you get with each version. I like doing that. I think that could be fun. So we're going to be getting that soon here within the next like week and a half. We'll be getting those. And also there was a book announced. So let's go. Let me pull up marvel.com so I don't word this wrong. So Marvel Studios, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, an official timeline coming September 2023. This is by DK Books. They've actually done great Marvel stuff in the past. Obviously I'm not sponsored, but it's like I want to talk about this because I think this is cool. This was also the same publisher that made the Complete Marvel Encyclopedia, which is a really awesome book. I use that a lot when kind of prepping for different movies and whatnot. And this is a comprehensive MCU timeline. I'm going to get it so I can find the issues with it. But I hope, my big hope is it kind of gives us years and whatnot so we can really put together where exactly we're sitting, because since Endgame, the big question has been, where exactly are we in the 2020s at this point? Are we 2024, 2025? Are we going 2026? No one knows, but I think it'll be cool to have a full timeline, start to finish, of the MCU. It's actually, it kind of pisses me off because that's a book I've really wanted to write, but they beat me to it. But yes, figured I'd mention those two things for anyone who's interested in the Timeline book, which I'll probably get and review, and then Wakanda Forever is going to be hitting home release soon, so we can all rewatch that movie and cry again. But last thing here, let's talk about Fantastic Four, the MCU's Fantastic Four movie. So there's two big things that came out, and keep in mind, we still know very little about this. We don't know the cast. We know Matt Shakman's directing, but we're very in the dark about what's happening with Fantastic Four. What we do know is there was a leak, rumor, whatever, that came out a couple days ago that the Fantastic Four in this movie will be experimenting with the time travel tech that the Avengers used in Endgame, which means the timeline, the time travel video I just recorded is going to be really obsolete, and I'm going to get pissed because I am losing my mind over trying to decipher MCU time travel. But they're going to be experimenting with that. They're from the present. Maybe they hop into the 60s. And the other thing that came out, which to me is much more interesting, is that Galactus is going to maybe be the main villain of this movie, which threw me for a loop because Galactus could and should easily be a Saga villain. I mean, he could very well be a Saga villain, but I guess he's not. Maybe he's a Fantastic Four villain. My first thought when I read it is that it'll be like Doctor Strange, where Dormammu's not dead and he can still come back later. He's just kind of gone right now. It could be this with Galactus, where they find a way to just kind of hold him. But Galactus can't show up and be defeated in his first movie. It just doesn't work that way for Galactus. I thought it'd be cool if they had someone like Super Skrull as the villain, not Doctor Doom. Let's set up Doom. Let's not do Doom until the second movie. Second movie, we do Doctor Doom and set up Galactus to go into whatever the next saga is and have him be an Avengers level threat. For the first movie, I thought it'd be cool if they do someone like Super Skrull. I think that could have a lot of potential to be a good villain if they have the rights to him. I remember reading there might be an issue with that, but I think it'd be cool to have them fight Super Skrull and have them fight a guy who can just replicate their powers. Because that's the thing about Super Skrull, is Super Skrull's a Skrull, but he can replicate the powers also. It would be a clever twist on the evil version of the good guy thing, where he can copy their powers instead of just crafting himself to be exactly like them. I think that would be cool. But Galactus being the main villain, I don't know how I feel about. Obviously, we're going to see how that comes together. I can't remember who's writing that movie, but him and Matt Shakman, we're going to see what they're cooking. Let's let them cook. But it's weird to me to bring in Galactus, the big bad, the guy who could very well be the villain of the next saga and just end the entire MCU by just fucking eating Earth, is the villain in Fantastic Four 1. That's weird to me, but we're gonna have to see how it goes. But there you guys go. That's all I have for you this week. There was not much, just a couple small things I want to talk about there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's gonna be it. Have a great day, guys.